Hey guys, Stephen Tony here, and I am back with a brand new one for y'all. And this one is going to be quite special, I think, actually, because it is going to be a first and a rare instance for me. Now, I know we've all gone through some points in our film viewing experiences where we see something at a fairly younger age and we may not like it, and then years later see it again and like it after that, and also think to ourselves, how could I have not enjoyed this the first time around? And of course, it works the other way too. We could see something as kids, especially, and love it, and then as we grow older, realize it's probably not as good as we thought it was at those ages. But I'm just going on here, I guess, a bit. But anyway, today I want to talk about a film that I saw in high school originally. Wrote it off for many years as not worth ever seeing again. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, started really thinking about giving it a second chance. And for me, this ultimate reappreciation and acceptance for how good it is Sergio Corbucci's Il Grande Silenzio, or The Great Silence, as we all know it as in English. This is the fabulous edition from Eureka Entertainment in the UK. Now, in order to share properly how I came to have a much better appreciation of this in my older years, is to go back 20 some odd years to 2005, actually. I was in my last year or so of high school. I actually graduated high school a year later than I was normally to have, due to, well, various learning difficulties over the years. I was not held back. I just had to go through an extra year of something. So anyway, I finally decide in high school to check out The Great Silence. I had a huge obsession with the good, the bad, and the ugly, and was looking to check out some more of these Italian and European made westerns. Well, I finally see this film, in high school. I'm probably 16 or 17 at the time. And for the most part, I think it's interesting. And then the famous bleak ending comes, and I'm totally off put by it. It really brings down my spirits. I think it's just, a horrible, horrible ending. And I write it off as not ever trying to see it again for years. It kind of puts me off checking out other, Italian and European made westerns for maybe 2.5 years. I finally really started getting back into them when Arrow started putting them out and including the Italian language audio options and such. So needless like you to say, I didn't have a very good first round experience. Like, I thought it was one of the worst things that Daytime ever made. But, as I grew older and I got back into the genre and I started liking some of the more, more, I guess, darker aspects of the genre, I finally started having appreciation for the somewhat more somber style storytelling. But, again, I was just afraid to check The Great Silence out again because of that, ultra harsh experience when seeing it as a teenager. So, finally, thanks to reading so much stuff on the Spaghetti Western database and hanging out with a bunch of the great guys on the forum there, I started to really rethink this over, and maybe I ought to be giving it a second chance, especially since it was remastered in 2K, I think, initially. So I think it over and I think it over, and I'm having trouble pulling the trigger and seeing it again. And Eureka Entertainment ends up putting out a really cool, swanky edition. There was, of course, an edition here in the U.S. that was almost similar, but I thought not 88 films. I thought Eureka just had a much better overall presentation of this, so I pick it up and I decide to make it my day one pick of the Spagvemberfest of 2022. Now, Spagvemberfest is where members of the SWDB forum engage in a month-long viewing of these westerns for however many days of November as we can fit them in. So I decided to make this my day one viewing, just in case I wasn't, a fan, again, so I could, cross it off my list. And amazingly, I had a quite enjoyable experience the second time around. Stuff that sort of, I guess, irked my young mind previously weren't really a bother anymore to me. I really appreciated the snowy and almost, dark setting, the ambience, of just those snowy, cold mountains, and the, coldness of the winter. I had a much better appreciation for how Jean-Louis Trintignant played the lead. Klaus Kinski really didn't change too much for me in between viewings, although more in that I appreciated his performance a lot better this go around. He is still a right bastard in this one. He is just he's a real despicable fella in this thing. Although I do have to admit that I still couldn't take the film's bleak ending again, but thankfully two alternate endings are choosable from. And I tend to watch the second alternate ending that's more ambiguous in how it ends. I actually prefer that ending over the classic one. I don't know why. Just something about that ending I can't get over. I mean, I don't hate it anymore. It's just it just isn't for me. I'm afraid. I don't know what it is. I mean, I do appreciate the risks Corbucci and his team took shooting it, but at the same instance, it just isn't my thing. I think because I was younger and was I don't want to say overly idealistic about things in the world. I was just more, more, hopeful of things. I mean, I still am. I still am. Like, don't get me wrong. But I mean, I guess like seeing something like this when you're not in a mind frame that things can go pretty horribly bad in the world. It doesn't create a first impression that's palpable. But I mean, it's been 20 years since. I'm much older. A Budweiser, obviously. And I really am more appreciative of this film now than I was back then. Plus seeing it in Italian, I guess, helped me get more into the mood. Dubbing to me in these films has always seemed fake. So seeing it how Italian audiences saw it back in '68, I think really helped out a lot. And it's just a film I've grown to enjoy. Save for the ending, obviously. The official ending anyway. But yeah, it was just a much better overall experience. I enjoyed for what it is. It is certainly the classic everyone's heralded it as a fine cast. Trenton Yaunt, Kinski, Frank Wolf, Luigi Pistilli, Vanetta Muggy. Just great stuff all around. Is definitely a staple of the genre. And is a film I'm glad I gave a second chance to. Glad I have a chance now to appreciate it the way most other fans do. I'm just not a fan of the preferred ending. It's not something I think I'll ever like, unfortunately, guys. And I do apologize for anyone who does love the ending for what it is. I'm not saying it's terrible anymore. It's just it's not my thing. so, yeah, out of all of my experiences where I see a film after a number of years of not having liked it previously, and then seeing it again and realizing how good it is, this is probably the top of the list and ones where my opinion has changed for the better very highly. Highly, and again, glad to have seen it again. Glad to have it in my collection. Eureka's at a top and notch job on this release. So happy to have it. And that of course is it. Just wanted to share my opinions with y'all here. Don't really want to call this a review. I just found that I enjoyed the slightly somber setting better. It's not a completely dark nihilistic film, but it also doesn't pull any punches either. And I do like it for that change up. So I hope you all enjoyed my brief talk here. I did try to keep it not short, but not too long either. Again, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for taking the time to check it out, and I'll see y'all in the next video.